moment.
Why we are not efficient enough in implementing our infrastructure plans.
Do they blame the government sometimes?
No, they compare us with China and we come out poorly.
Where credibility is concerned, India is way ahead. People look at India, and in fact one of the questions I answered was that what could China do what India is doing?
There is certainly no question of, saying that this is because of government that everything is happening. But government also has a role, a facilitator.
The point is that in the advanced industrial countries, Europe and the United States, the economic problems have not gone away. We've been pulled back from the brink, but it is very clear that we are not in robust.
India has been doing great for a while, so I'm so optimistic and bullish about India. All countries have to get through some times and some issues, so I would just put that something they'll get through, hopefully sooner rather than later.
When you have a market like India where you have 50 or 75 computers per 1,000 people, we see really nothing but upside. And so I think it's going to continue to grow for quite some time.
We understand Facebook, we understand the other players in the market. If you spend time worrying about competition, you're trying to make a better product than your competition. If you spend time worrying about the consumer, you're trying to build a product which they're going to love.
We're too globally interlinked now for it to be either or, a zero-sum game. So I believe the growth of the US economy is going to be very good for India.
We are not a heaven or something in India. We are used to lots of good things the last few years, after 91, and especially this decade or last decade, and some scams. We don't like the scams. But to say we are ashamed of it, I don't accept. We are not happy. We didn't want them to happen. But it's been happening all over the world, which is no consolation. It's been happening in India, and it's you guys, the media, which has brought it out. Yeah, you've done a great job.
I guess the biggest crisis post-crisis is the European debt problem. The global economy is in recovery. It's a time when the diseases of growth are starting to show up, while hopefully over time we will leave back the diseases of crisis.
This show brought to you by Veligare Global Financial Services, growing with you every day. Aquaguard Total, Barney Card Doctor.
Different banking solutions from HSBC, the world's local bank.
Give it to me now.
Give me a two now.
Give it to me now.
Give me a two now.
Give it to me now.
Give me a two now.
Got a business? Get a website. BigRock.com. Websites start at just ₹99.
Welcome back to Davos Direct. It's time for us to bring you some of the coolest people who came for the World Economic Forum. They're the ones who keep up the sessions alive because they're probably those that you might get starstruck with. First up is Peter Gabriel, man who is the sledgehammer man, singer of great repute, but more importantly, the stuff he's doing here, turning to conscious capitalism and preaching that to the rest of the world.
With Amnesty, and we did this Human Rights Now tour in '88, and we played in Delhi, so that was my first visit.
And since then?
Since then, I've just stopped by, but it's one of the places I would love to get to know much better. It's on my list.
What is it that intrigues you about India?
Well, I think some typical tourist things, but I think it's also a very interesting country, and I hope it grows and develops so that it provides a suitable balance for China in the new world.
Well, that's a very interesting thing that you talk about, because Davos this time is talking about how both India and China are so key to the world markets. But at the same time, there's this issue that, is China going the right way? And does India want to put its cultural background to use in some ways to keep up with that?
Yeah, and it obviously needs to give more opportunities to the poor in society and deal with governance issues. But you have so many fantastic things going for India that I really think it's important for the world that there is that counterbalance.
Roots reaching through the soil, hold these knots so tightly tied, we could not uncoil. Love town.
Indian music has also taken in a big way in the global scene. Once again, I know Ravi Shankar did at some stage, but in a big way again. Are you sort of curious about the changing tones of Indian music?
Yeah, and I mean, it was nice to see Mr. Rahman get his Crystal Award today, and even though he did put me to the Oscar last year, but I still voted for him this year. But it's great to see that there's a sort of new confidence, and that this mixing of styles that doesn't forget the power and the passion of the traditional music.
I can see the city light. Winds blow, time stood still. Even throughout the night, he was something to himself. Came in close, I heard a voice.
Millions and millions of people have